You are up, Commissioner.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are up. Friday, April 25th. It's a Friday. What are we doing here on a Friday? Anyway, glad y'all could make it. Scott, you're first, so let's do it.
Morning, Commission. Scott Crowther, Event Director, Business Manager.
Curtis Austin, High Mountain Riders.
So Curtis is one of the 4-H leaders, and they come up and they utilize the 4-H arena that we have. It's the arena just to the north of our 2 outdoor arenas. They utilize that for practice for all the different 4-H events. They've been doing this for several years, and they're here today to request a fee waiver for that arena.
Okay, please.
So
How many kids you got?
Right now, I think we've got 11.
Good. That's an increase, isn't it?
It's an increase, yeah. So, last year, I think I had 8, so. The books close on, I think, the 5th of May, so there's still a chance for more kids.
cool. And are these the same amount of dates that you had last year, or have you increased the date?
No, I think it's the same. It's,
Okay.
And that doesn't affect the other arenas. I mean, it's
So this arena is like it's not necessarily an arena. I mean, it's kind of a sandy base, just cattle panels around it. There's no lights or boxes or anything really too crazy with it. So we'll usually just hit it pretty quick as we're leaving. The one issue we do run into is because of the substrate in there, because it's not maintained as well as maybe the other arenas is. We might hit it before, as we're leaving, and then by the time these guys get here, it hardens up a little bit more. So we do have some conversations about the quality of the dirt out there, but it's a yeah.
Okay.
I think it's good for what it's used for.
Okay. Not have any issues? Ken?
Already, I assume they're all from Bannock County.
yeah.
I know there was some migration. We were getting some kids down from other counties, but I don't know if there are any in this program.
No.
So
Okay, I'm okay with that.
now,
Okay.
one thing I was going to just chat with Matthew about real quick on this is, so typically we do ask for an insurance waiver, but because these guys are 4-H, the insurance falls on the kids. So it's kind of an interesting deal on that, because 4-H doesn't carry the insurance waiver or insurance. So
Okay.
Well, we still have our general liability policy
Sure.
for property and liability, but we can catch up after. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have, I think, too great of concern.
yeah, and I don't know. We just it's one kind of a standardized box, and so when I talked to Curtis about it, he was like, "Oh my gosh, we've never done that before."
Yeah.
I thought, well, we'll just make
Do you
sure.
require something from the parents requiring just like,
I
that
don't,
they say it's.
when they sign up for
kids are-
4-H,
Yeah.
it's all through that.
I see.
And 4-H actually has a policy for the kids and the leaders that are covered during 4-H events, so.
Well, maybe I'll just reach out to Nikki then.
Yeah, that might be a good, just to double check on that.
Yeah, we'll do. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we sign this waiver for the 4-H group.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a fun summer.
Go ahead.
Michaela?
Michaela Prohaska, Director of Wellness Programs at Portneuf Health Trust.
So Healthy City would like to do a family fun run. Do you want to describe the event and kind of what you're looking for?
Yep, so we're going to partner with Kind Community, with Rainbow Maldonado and her crew. They're going to be doing their Kind Week for the week of September 19th, whatever that Monday is. The 19th is the Friday, is the day that we're hoping to do the fun run. We're just going to wrap it up by saying to be kind to your body, and so we're just going to wrap it up with a fun run. We'll have different distances for families and kids. I think we're going to do a 1 mile, 5K, and 10K, and then just offer some trail mix and snacks for them afterwards, and then just help out Kind Community as much as possible.
Good. Good.
And they're requesting a fee waiver on this?
Just-
So it's a
just a
pavilion
pavilion.
rental of $100 and then access to the trail system. So, and like with every other event like this, we don't close down the complex for anybody else. So if somebody wants to run or walk, they're welcome to do so.
How many people do you usually have at this?
This is the first time that we've done the fun run with Kind Community, so we can have anywhere from 100 to 500.
Wow.
Just depend, I know, it's a huge range,
Right.
but just depends on where we can market and how many people are signing up for it. We're thinking for a Friday night, maybe starting at 5:30. Maybe we can get around 150, 200.
Okay.
It's probably a little bit more accurate, but if we have 500, great.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
So you're doing it on a Friday night. Friday night lights, are they still going?
They will be going at that time, so it will be a busy parking lot.
That's all I'm saying, is
Yeah.
that the parking lot, the walking paths, I mean, it's gonna be tough to designate a running path. I'll just say that.
So really, all they'll do is just mark off the locations. And we've talked about doing kind of a standardized, maybe signage that shows, okay, if you start here and you run this direction, you're gonna hit a mile here. You'll hit 3K, 5K. I don't know if there's even a 3K. Sounds right up my alley, but if maybe, doing something like that, we haven't done that yet.
Okay, yeah.
and it's not gonna be super serious for timing, like nobody's gonna be running up there into kids during Friday night. It's just very family friendly. Because we know that that's what's
You're
going
kind of
on.
going around the outside, you won't really go up
No,
down the middle.
mm-mm. The only time that we'll go up the middle is just right at the beginning when they take off, and then they'll go around the perimeter. Yep.
I have no
So are you
problem.
gonna go down, or are you gonna go up through Friday Night Lights to start?
Up through Friday Night Lights.
That could be kind of interesting.
I know. We could switch it around and have them do it backwards, but then they'll all be coming down through Friday Night Lights. It might be a little bit more spread out by the time they're coming down, so we can just switch the route to backwards.
That might be the better way, that way you're not gonna have this huge pack trying to fight
Right.
through the Friday Night Lights crowd.
Well, with
Yeah, we can
the
switch
time
it.
of it too, Friday Night Lights in the summer tends to kick off a little bit later. At least the bigger kids they go later in the night or in the evening.
What time's Friday Night Lights start?
I think they start setting up about 6:30.
Oh, well.
So I mean,
what
it
time
might
you gonna
be
start running?
it might be a little bit
5:30.
early, but with it being a Friday, it might be, I don't know.
They're actually playing games at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but if you've got your big mass through there before 6.
Right, and it would be, because I mean, it's gonna take a minute for them to go from Pavilion 3 up to Olympus.
Yeah,
If we start at 5:30, then we should be good, and all races are gonna start at the same time.
that's still gonna be pretty close, because they're gonna be filling in. I would go down.
Yeah, we can totally switch it to down and do it backwards.
Yeah.
Just be aware, it's a very, very busy place Friday
Yeah.
night.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
it is.
All right, any other questions?
My only problem is how do you use the word fun and run in the same sentence?
Very carefully.
Speaking of somebody that went way past that a long time ago. So, with that, I would make the motion that we go ahead and approve that.
All right, we have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you.
Todd?
Good morning, Todd Mauger with Bannock County Juvenile Justice. I'm here this morning. The Idaho Department of Juvenile Corrections put out a proposal for funds. Senate Bill 1215 passed during the 25 legislative session, and it appropriates emergency funding for state fiscal year 25 and one-time funding again for state fiscal year 26 for assessment centers. And the Idaho Department of Juvenile Corrections are the one that are distributing it. They've kind of, rather than a grant, they're more so asking for attestation of grant funds for the Idaho assessment centers. And so I've provided that for the meeting this morning. I'm hoping that we can get approval and signature of that. And looking at this is one-time funds again that goes towards the sustainability of the assessment center. And so I haven't completely finished the budget request on it and completed the sustainability plan. It's due May 5th, but I thought it would be good to come in, get approval and signature and go over what we have kind of to request for funds this morning. When we look at our budget and what we don't have funding for state fiscal year 26, the one thing that stands out as far as utilities type stuff goes is the night owl janitor. And so I'd request the $8,040 for the janitor costs. And then when we purchased the village building, there's 3 HVAC units in it. One of them was really bad. In fact, Dan told me that the public buildings aren't allowed to have them anymore because it caught them on fire. So we replaced that, and we were kind of pushed for funding, trying to make sure we got everything done. And so we held off on the other 2. With some carryover funding, we replaced number 2 last week. And when I look at the sustainability of the building, if we have 3 new HVAC units as soon as possible, that'll extend the life and defer that cost to the county for years down the road. And so I'd be requesting $17,532 for that, and we have a quote on that. The other area of need would be the skylights in that building. There's 9 skylights. When we moved in, 2 of them started leaking, and they were replaced with grant funding. But Dan had kind of created a schedule to replace 1 a year for 7 years. But I think it's a great opportunity to get those replaced. And that too would help sustain the building for years to come. And City Creek Glass gave me an approximate quote. They're going to be over today, but they're looking at about $5,000 per skylight. So would request $35,000 for that. The University of Cincinnati did EPICS training. EPICS is effective practices in community supervision, which really gets into training our case managers how to work with families and create effective case management plans, engage the family, and they incorporate CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, into those plans. So during the last year, we paid for funding. We had funding and brought in a trainer and trained 10 of our staff in that. When we look at sustainability, we would have an opportunity with maybe these funds for $20,000. We could bring the University of Cincinnati back in and then do a 5-person train the trainer. So we could have 5 trainers of EPIC. So in the future, our employees, our staff are trainers, and so we could sustain that program. And then I've been looking and talking with Bree Bopp. She's a professor in Nevada that she came over with the Urban Institute and started the evaluation process with us. But she can perform a need risk responsivity training, which I think would be very good. And I didn't tell you, the EPIC, the bringing in the trainer for the EPICs would be $20,000. And then Bree Bops would come in and do 8 hours of training on need risk responsivity, how to tie in our screenings and assessments and match the services and level of supervision with the risk of the kid. It's evidence-based practices. And that'd be $2,000. And then we know that the YDC program is moving up to the fairgrounds. We have 1 van that we're using between the 2 buildings. And so in looking at that situation, it would be great to have another 15-passenger van. And so I did a little bit of research. I think for $36,000 we could get a good used one that would serve the purposes. And then the other thing that I'm looking at for sustainability, knowing that this is just one-time funds, we have the 2 conference rooms, but the Toucan system would allow us to connect a video camera to our TVs and do the Zoom calls, and it's one of those rotating ones, and pick up the sound, which I think right now we're just setting our computer in front of the TV and plugging it in for the Zoom meetings and telehealth stuff we're doing, or the trainings for our staff. But what I'm looking at is requesting $119,000 and $372 in this funds, if approved.
Questions?
Not really.
Okay,
So is this, I assume this is a grant that's gonna.
Well, it's interesting, they're not doing it as a grant. Basically, they're saying those centers that have, meet a certain criteria set forth, or based on, if we're tier 1, tier 2, youth and family services, the catchment area of the center. And then they're gonna look at our sustainability plan. As far as our sustainability goes, we have that lease with the Idaho Department of Juvenile Corrections. We've billed for last year, which was about $15,600, and then we have, it'll be $22,600 per year after that, starting again in June for them. We'll use that to pay for our data system and screening tools. We also, these kids that are referred to the village through the citation process, we're collecting a $100 fee if it's not detrimental to the family for the supervision and keeping it from court. It's something we've been doing for 20 years through the court system, but we've moved it over to the village. So those families that come in on self-referrals, or law enforcement's referring without a citation, there's no supervision fee, but those kids that are coming through for citations. And we collected, I think, $18,000 the first year in 2023 and $13,000 last year. And so those fees will be used to purchase our data system in the future and our screening tools. We have some carryover funding, and I've worked out a contract with our data system that we're going to purchase it for 3 years with the carryover funds. And we've done that with the screening tool. So we won't have any screening or data bills for 3 years, so we can kind of collect that money and move forward with that in year 4. So that's the sustainability plan.
cool.
So there's no match, it's just asking for money, and
If you
that's
get it,
what,
you
that's
get
what
it.
the request is, to ask for money.
So what was the total of what you just chunked into there?
It's $119,000.
It just kept
and some
going,
change.
I could tell the number was going up.
Well, I figure, and a lot, these funds were, I worked with several assessment centers, and they came from the Millennial Fund. Our center's very, very close to being sustainable. There's another center, Ada Counties is as well. The other 10 are in a situation where they need funding, but I feel that we've done the work, we've followed our sustainability plan, and we should ask for a share of what we're doing. We put in the work and we're there. And if we have that building in tip-top shape and have a van and are able to keep training our staff for no cost down the road on some of those things that I feel are very important to do a good job, and follow those evidence-based practices to get the results we want, I feel like we should ask for some funding.
I agree.
Cool.
Go ahead and make a motion that we approve Todd to move forward with this application for funding from the Millennium Fund.
Okay, any further discussion?
Thank you.
All in
Thank you.
favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Good job, Todd.
Thank you.
Elise?
Elise Foster, subdivision planner. I have a plat for review and approval. It is a lot line adjustment from an existing platted subdivision up Meat Creek. One of the owners is wanting to build a shop in the future, and because of the terrain, they're needing to adjust that line over so he could do so. There was no construction required through this process. It was simply just adjusting the line. Any questions?
No. With that, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the adjustment to the plat.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Kyle and friends. You want to come on up, Tyson? Welcome back, Tyson. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And before we get started, I will recuse myself from this one as I sit on the board for the Lava Foundation, so it's up to you two on this one.
Howdy, Kyle Brumster, Public Works Director.
Tyson Costa, Director of the Lava Hot Springs Foundation.
Good morning, everybody. Just kind of an update of what we're here and bringing before you today is way back, we used to have some of the operators would park equipment at their houses. We even had fuel tanks at their house so they could keep their graders or whatnot filled to be able to do snow removal and have them closer so we weren't trying to drive a road grader from a Cammon clear to Lava and stuff like that. In '07, we did away with doing that, and we worked with the foundation and got a parcel of ground to park our equipment and some sanding material, also to save us the time of driving clear back and forth from Lava. It was a little over an acre right at the beginning of Blazer Highway, and you guys have probably seen that. What we're here today is, and I'll let Tyson kind of say the changes that have been made that they're working on with leasing and stuff like that, that me and Tyson got together on trying to figure out where we could still have a spot for winter time and things like that. We do also use it for, say if we're chipping, we'll locate all our chips there so we can just haul closer. So it works out really good for us to have some of these little satellite yards like this. So he was able to look at getting a piece just right adjacent to it, right across Blazer, with about the same size and everything. And so that's kind of what you have before you today, is that we'd like to do an MOU together to be able to utilize that property from the foundation.
Yeah, so essentially the ground you guys are on right now, that we have the current agreement on, is being expanded with the KOA East project. That's actually, most of it was part of their original lease. So through the process of that, we found out where ITD's pit was at the bottom of Fish Creek right there on the west side of Blazer Highway and Highway 30. That is actually foundation property, and their ITD's moving out of it. So with that, that opened up this opportunity to come back to the county and offer that to move the MOU across the street. With the foundation will utilize part of that property as well, so it'll be a joint. It's right at just under an acre. It'll be a joint piece of property. But we've had a good work relationship with Bannock County, and I know what a value that is. So we'd like to just keep the MOU and just move it parcels.
So what kind of work do you do for $2,000 a year?
We tried to look at some of the other chunks of ground and values. It's location, location, location. Lava's kind of hard. We can't find land around there unless you're going to pay a lot of money for it to purchase or to lease. So we looked at like some of the stuff that we're leasing from the railroad and different things and what them numbers were to try to come up with a fair value. What we normally do is if we just do it in materials, there's needs for 3/4 material, maybe sanding or some asphalt material that we would do to make up for that.
Well, I just how it states it, it didn't say what you would do, it just said
It's
$2,000.
kind of what we do, or we did with the city of Pocatello. We don't exchange money, and if neither one of us did anything, it just stayed what we tracked, what we did to try to be fair with each other. So what we would be doing is tracking the amount of cost of material that they used would be around that 2,000. If they didn't use it that year, then we could move it forward. One thing that we had talked about is they might want the section that we're using to put a better fence just for the view of lava coming in. So if we if they waited a couple of years and then we put the fence in and said like, welcome to Lava, or whatever it was, that could be a part of it. If they need something asphalted or something, we could come in and do a quick asphalt job for them.
Yes, I proposed to Kyle, because we need 4 or 5 loads of gravel a year or some cold mix here and there. So rather than exchange funds, if we need a couple loads of gravel and you guys have it up there, we got a dump trailer and we can just keep track of the value of the product.
And I'm not really concerned about that. All I'm concerned about is a Bannock County machine working on somebody else's property. Just so that we know when you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and we'd probably, if it was gonna be like a project like that, we'd still come before you, kinda like we do for Income or any of the other towns that we're doing a project, cause some of that would maybe be something that they wanted to wait a few years and then they needed a little bit of a parking lot fixed, and then we would show what that cost was to you guys and say this is gonna pay for this.
That piece of property makes good sense. I've always remembered it as a state place there. My only concern with it, and I'm okay with that, is accounting for a carryover from year to year to year. I mean, how sophisticated do we need to get to even, if we just state that in the MOU, that it could be up to that amount, and not put a lot of specifics in there so that we're not doing an accounting deal of, okay, you used $400, the rest of it has to be carried over, so next year it's going to be 2,000 plus. I just assume that'd be a very, here's the cost. If it doesn't get used, we're not going to do any accounting for it. I don't know. Christie's not here, but I worry about accruing things from year to year or store it up. So I'd like to have it almost like if it's up to that, and if it doesn't get used by either party or whatever, that it resets itself every year. I don't know. That'd be my only concern, is trying to make this more of an accounting nightmare than it needs to be.
How does that read?
And that's kind of similar to what we do with the cities with salt sand versus us doing water, getting water here and there. We kind of make sure that we're fair with each other, but then the next year it kind of redoes, but I don't know where the foundation is with that.
And I don't know whether there's a lot we need to, it's pretty general and pretty vague, and I just seem to keep it that way rather than.
You just take the last line out.
Get my glasses.
It says that we do it every year and kind of keep track of it.
Well, if we had it that it maybe said that if they don't use it, that we pay what the rest of the 2,000 was.
Well, I don't think even we need to do that. We just-
I'd
we
be
just-
more interested in just being able to use.
Just
get the
agree to-
product each year. And
If you
then-
don't use it, you lose it. So I'm okay with that too, if we delete that last line, and then there's just no mention of that, just keep it as generalized as, I'd feel a lot more comfortable out there doing that. If somebody comes back and said, but what is it that we really owe? No, if you have a need for it, we'll supply it. If not, we're moving on. So, everybody okay with that?
Yeah, especially, I mean, you
Yeah.
guys work well together. If somebody else come in,
Yeah, that's what we were looking at, is
This makes
it's
it
great
simple.
right now, but you don't know in the future.
Someday all of us won't be here. So,
Would it work if I updated that and then you could just sign it after? I could do that.
We can just line through.
we just lined
Just
through
went
it.
through it? Okay.
So with that, I'd make the motion, we go ahead and agree to this MOU and sign it.
We have a motion. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Why don't you go ahead and initial that?
Thank you.
thank you.
Good to see you, Tyson.
Yeah, good to see you. Do you want me to
We
sign
do
that
have
today?
we do have some dress standards here, Tyson.
Dress standards.
Tell him it's Friday.
Don't get no dress better than this.
That looks just right for Lava Foundation.
right.
doesn't it?
You gotta dress the job, right?
Yeah, so,
I'm already fan.
Will you initial that front page too?
She likes to be on the camera.
Take you,
Thanks, Tyson.
Thank you. Christie, we just emailed.
take the long way back.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, that traffic.
Shanda.
Kyle, do you want to stay for the award?
For what you need?
Good morning, Commissioners. Shanda Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer, and I have asked
Kyle Burmester, Public Works Director.
to stay with...
You weren't sure who you were for a minute, or what?
It was an odd pause. I'll give them that. I've got 2 items before the board today. The first one is a recommendation to award road striping materials and labor invitation to bid. We went out to bid for this project and opened them earlier this week. We received 1 bid back in from Idaho Traffic Safety. Just a little more detail about that. They are bidding $24.95 a gallon for paint, both yellow and white, and 63 cents a pound for glass beads. And then the application labor is just over $40,000. That brings the estimated total of this project to $316,705.43. That is an estimate. We did use estimated numbers to give the companies something to bid on, but then allows a little flexibility for Road and Bridge to be able to determine exactly what needs to happen throughout the year. That is in line with the market cost as they currently are, and they are within budget. So that being said, we would recommend that the board award the road striping materials and labor invitation to bid to Idaho Traffic Safety.
Okay, any question?
No.
Okay,
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I've got a letter for you.
How many miles of road is that?
It's hard to, because some use doubles and
Yeah.
stuff like that, so we just kind of go till we run out. But one thing that's changing a little bit this year is with the commission letting us go off of our plan of what all the roads we need to do. We have chipped in the past, because all the stuff that we do any maintenance, we're gonna have to paint. So we used to chip 20 miles of road, and now we're chipping 42 or something like that, and then all our paved roads, but then also we paint the roads that get up in the mountains, high traffic, to redo them too. But we're looking at 120 or something miles of road that we do per year. But it is the cost is, it went up a lot last year, and it's kind of stayed the same this year. We were hoping that we'd get it a little lower, but that's kind of where we're at.
Do you need that letter back, Shanda?
You can just keep it in the packet and I'll grab it.
So what do you do? What kind of life do you get out of that? 2 years, 3
So
years?
some of the roads, like I say, the high traffic, there's some that we paint every year. Some that it has to be done every year. There is a part where, so say if we chip 40 miles, the first 2 years we have to repaint. Then after that, so it's more porous and it'll come off easier on these new paved or new chipped roads. So we'll do it that year and the next year, and then they're usually pretty good, thick enough to last longer. So some roads we can let go, so we have to look at what roads still meet that, that are good enough to leave alone. But like I say, a lot of these like buckskin, different ones that you do a lot of plowing on and steeper elevations, they always wear off fast, Mink Creek. And then like old Highway 91, we do that just because of the speed and the travel on it. So we just have to adjust to what we can try to keep them painted up.
Okay,
Good. Works.
Thanks.
thanks.
Well, the second item I had before the board was a procurement update. I wanted to report on 2 things. The first being, in our last meeting, you guys approved up to $100,000 for the security equipment up at the YDC. I reached out to those 2 contractors and heard back from one. The one, M2 Automations, confirmed that their estimate, the proposal that they submitted for the $18,000 was to provide the equipment and install it. So their estimate is good. I sent your signed copy to them, and we're in line to get ordered, and that should arrive just fine. I've connected them with Dan as well, so they'll be able to coordinate putting in any utilities or anything that they need ahead of time and be able to run with that. We're still waiting on ProEdge. Adam didn't feel that there would be an adjustment needed, that the work was pretty minimal. If they were going to be on site doing the cameras and the panic buttons, that they could just do the other as well. But just waiting to confirm back from ProEdge on that piece of it. But we're moving forward with that project. The second item I wanted to update the board on is some legislation that had passed recently and will go into effect in July 1st. It is good news for my procurement. With Senate Bill number 1118, they have moved our limits for bidding for both public works and services and personal property. They have moved those. Anything from $0 to $100,000 is now exempt from bidding. Once we hit $100,000 up to $250,000 is going to be informal, and then anything over $250,000 is going to be a formal bid. So that does adjust the rates for us. It also aligns them together, which is really fantastic. It leaves us like 2 numbers to pay attention to instead of we had 6 numbers that departments had to know and pay attention to. That, right? We just know that now our trigger point is $100,000. I did want to mention a couple things that aren't going to change, but that we'll watch as projects go through. There's still going to be something, a bunch that I need to watch at $50,000 as far as performance and payments bonds. We do anticipate, at least our association, the Idaho Public Procurement Association, is going to try to get a bill going to move those bonds that are required up to the $100,000. So again, they match at that same trigger point. But right now, for this next legislative session, it's going to remain at 50. So we'll have to watch that, as well as the engineering and architectural professional services are remained at $50,000. And the public works license requirement. So even though we might not have to go out to bid for a project, we're still going to have to require performance and payment bonds and public works license on anything that's more than 50 but less than 100. So a couple of things to watch for, but I'm excited for this movement, and we'll let departments know as of July 1st what their new ones are.
Great, thank you.
Excellent, thanks.
Christy?
Christy Davenport, Management Assistant. Before you, you have a quitclaim deed for a property and income that has been something I've been working on for 6.5 years. So I'm very excited for you guys to sign this today. This is the property that you decided to gift to income, and Commissioner Moser visited with the council and they have agreed to accept.
Okay, comments, questions?
I'm as excited to get rid of it as Christie is.
Is it one parcel or multiple?
It's one parcel number, but 4 pieces of
Okay.
property,
Because I was thinking there was, yeah.
which is 2 of their streets.
I think it's
In
great.
between the Village Mart and the bank, and on the side of the caboose.
Horseshoe pitch
No, it's
on the other side of that?
a parking lot.
Okay, part of that.
I'd go ahead and make a motion that we sign this quick deed claim with the city of Beacon, for the city of Beacon.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Down to Nancy.
Oh,
Next, we have a Board of Review decision letter where we denied the request for reconsideration for the John Wilkes CUP on the gravel pit. Just requires signature. We also have a signature on Mr. Henderson. Actually, the letters to our APA committee, just kind of letting them know the status of where we're at.
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and sign both letters.
I have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that moves us to the consent agenda. And in the consent agenda, we have invoices, commissioners' reports, alcohol licenses, and certificate of residency approval. Any questions on any of those items?
Another question I had is, how many of those pop-up tents did we buy for $1,800? Just two? Oh, we gotta be pretty good looking kids. So,
I thought they was a little spendy myself.
yeah, so hopefully they will last. But that's the only question I have.
Where's the storage area?
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve all the items on the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, we will